It was 1968. The world was on fire. Vietnam. Assassinations, protests, music was changing too. It was loud. It was angry. It was political. The Beatles had released Sgt. Pepper, and Jimi Hendrix was setting his guitar on fire. The Rolling Stones were symbols of raw, bluesy rebellion. Music had things to say. It had a job to do. And then there was Elvis. Where was he? He was in Hollywood. He was making movies, bad movies, movies with titles like Clambake and Harum Scarum. He was singing songs to co-stars on flimsy sets. The songs were forgettable. The plots were silly. He was handsome. He was charming. But he was safe. He was a product. The fire that had scared a generation of parents in the 1950s was gone. Or so everyone thought. He had become a joke to the serious music fan. A relic from a simpler time. A cartoon character stuck in a beach movie. His manager, Colonel Tom Parker, saw a way to make some easy money. A television special. A Christmas special, to be specific. He pictured Elvis in a sweater, surrounded by tinsel, singing wholesome holiday songs. It was a safe bet, it was a family-friendly cash grab, it was everything Elvis had become. It was everything Elvis was sick of being. He was 33 years old. He should have been at the peak of his power. Instead, he felt irrelevant. He saw the world moving on without him. He saw musicians his age and younger creating art that mattered. And he was singing about crawfish, he knew it, he hated it. He missed the feeling of a live crowd. He missed the danger, he missed the electricity of a real band playing real music. So when the TV special came up, a battle began. It was a quiet battle fought behind the scenes. It was the Colonel's vision versus Elvis's desperation. The Colonel wanted a comfortable, predictable Christmas show, as Elvis wanted to remind the world who he was. A young, determined director named Steve Binder was brought in. Binder didn't see the movie star. He saw the guy from the Sun Records sessions. He saw the kid who shook the world. Binder sided with Elvis. He listened. He understood the frustration. He saw the caged animal. Together, they started to hijack the show. The cheesy Christmas theme was pushed aside. The sweaters were thrown out. Binder's idea was simple. Just let Elvis be Elvis. They decided to strip it all back. No fancy sets, no scripted banter, just Elvis, a small stage, a live audience, and his old bandmates. They held informal jam sessions to warm up. The cameras rolled, and in those sessions, something happened. The old fire came back. The swagger returned. He was funny. He was self-deprecating. But most of all, he was powerful. He remembered the musician he was, not the actor he had been forced to become. These jam sessions became the heart of the special, but they needed an opening. They needed a statement. They needed to announce, from the very first second, that this was not the movie Elvis. This was not the guy singing to puppies. This was something else. Something new, yet something old. Something primal. The Colonel would have wanted a friendly hello. Maybe a big hit, like Love Me Tender. Something to ease the audience in. Something to say, hello, America, your old friend is back. And Elvis and Binder chose the opposite. They chose a declaration of war. The show opens. The screen is black, you hear a snarling guitar riff, then a single, focused shot of a face. It's him, but it's different. The face is leaner, hungrier, the eyes are dark. He's not smiling, he's sneering, he's dressed head to toe in black leather. He looks like a panther ready to pounce. He moves with a coiled, aggressive energy. The camera pulls back, and you see him standing alone, a guitar slung over his shoulder more like a weapon than an instrument. And then he sings. The voice is not the smooth croon from his movie ballads. It's a growl, it's a taunt. The first line is not a greeting. It is a direct challenge to anyone watching. It's a dare. It says, if you're looking for a fight, you've found one. It says, if you want a nice, quiet evening, you should change the channel right now. This song was not a recent hit. It wasn't even a particularly famous song from his catalog at the time. It was a deep cut from one of his earlier better films, King Creole, a film from 1958. A lifetime ago in pop music years, reaching back for this specific song was a deliberate choice. He was bypassing the entire decade of silly movies. He was ignoring the lightweight pop he'd been churning out. He was going back to a time when he was still considered dangerous, a time when his music had a raw, bluesy edge. The lyrics were perfect for his mission. They weren't about love or heartbreak. They were about identity. They were a statement of origin and intent. The lyrics paint a picture of a man who was born defiant. A man who doesn't back down. A man whose very nature is to stir things up. He sings about being born, standing up, and talking back. He sings about his father being a wild man and his mother not taking any nonsense. This wasn't just a song, it was his new biography. He was rewriting his own narrative in real time. He was erasing the memory of the goofy race car driver from Spin Out and replacing it with this menacing figure in black leather. Think about the context of 1968. The youth of America were protesting. They were questioning authority. They felt that the generation before them was plastic and fake. And here comes Elvis, the man who had become the symbol of safe establishment entertainment, and what does he say? He says he's trouble. He aligns himself not with the parents who had grown to accept him, but with the spirit of rebellion that was defining the new generation. It was an incredibly savvy and entirely authentic move. He wasn't pretending to be a hippie. He wasn't singing about peace and love. He was reminding them that he was the original rebel. Before the Beatles, before the Stones, he was the one who scared everybody. And he was here to claim that title back. The performance itself was as important as the song choice. He wasn't just standing and singing, he was embodying the lyrics. Every move was sharp, aggressive, almost violent. The karate style, kicks, and hand chops he had been practicing in private were now part of his stagecraft. They weren't just dance moves, they were expressions of contained power. He prowled the stage. He held the microphone stand like he was about to break it. His lip curled into that famous sneer, but it wasn't playful anymore. It was a warning. This was a direct confrontation with the audience expectation. People tuning in probably expected a friendly, nostalgic trip down memory lane. They were met with a punch in the face. It was a brilliant strategy. It immediately shattered the image of the happy-go-lucky movie star. It forced you to reevaluate who you were watching. It made you sit up and pay attention. You couldn't be a passive viewer. You had to react. You were either thrilled or you were offended. There was no middle ground, and for Elvis that was a victory. Indifference was the enemy he had been fighting for years. The choice of this song was also a message to the music industry. It was a shot fired at all the new acts who had taken his place. He wasn't going to compete with them on their terms. He wasn't going to grow his hair long or write psychedelic songs. He was going to be himself, but a harder, more intense version of himself. He was reminding them of the foundations of rock and roll. The blues, the attitude, the raw sexual energy. He was reminding them that he built this city. And it was a message to his manager. Colonel Parker was famously against this entire direction. He didn't understand it. He wanted the old profitable formula. This opening number was a public act of defiance. It was Elvis on national television declaring his independence. He was taking back control of his art, of his image, of his career. The man in the black leather was not a puppet. He was the one pulling the strings now. By choosing an aggressive, confrontational song, he was burning his bridges to the past. There was no going back to movies like Easy Come, Easy Go after this. He had drawn a line in the sand. This performance was so powerful, so definitive, that it made the last 8 years of his career seem like a strange detour, a bad dream. The real Elvis was back. The song structure is pure, stripped-down blues. It's simple, it's direct, there's no fat on it. That was also part of the mess. In an era of complex studio productions and orchestral arrangements, he was returning to the basics. A guitar, a bass, drums, and a voice. It was a statement about authenticity. This is real music, played by real musicians. No tricks, no studio magic, just raw power. It set the tone for the entire special. Because he started with such intensity, the quieter moments that followed had even more impact. When he sat down with his old band for the informal jam session, you saw the other side of him. The relaxed, funny, charming man. But you saw it through the lens of that opening number. You knew the danger was still there, lurking just beneath the surface. When he sang the soaring gospel numbers, they felt more profound because they came from a place of real struggle, the struggle you witnessed in that first song. And when he closed the show with the powerful, newly written ballad about wanting a better world, it felt earned. He had first shown you the anger and frustration, the dark side. So when he sang of hope, you believed him. The entire special was a journey, and that aggressive opening was the necessary first step. It was the moment of rebirth. He had to kill the old Elvis to let the new one live. Why that song? Because it was a confession, a manifesto, and a threat all at once. It confessed his frustration and his feeling of being caged. It was a manifesto for his new artistic direction, a return to what was real and raw. And it was a threat to anyone who thought he was finished. It was the sound of a king reclaiming his throne. Not by asking, but by taking it by force. The song was trouble.